Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. What an interesting moment to be alive. I mean, what a moment to witness. We are witnessing slowly in real time what I think can only be described as a political realignment. It's so clear now after the last election that people's eyes have officially been opened. And unfortunately for Democrats, once it starts, well, it's pretty hard to stop the trend. Essentially what it feels like is we've been in an ideological battle of sorts for roughly 8 to 9 years, and finally it feels like one side won. It feels like we've officially won in the battle in the arena of ideas, and for me it's moments like these that really justify my stance. The people have had enough, and it's not just the career Republicans, the lifelong Republicans, and it's not even just the independents either. Even the most left of city is moving rightward, as the residents and the voters push back against the woke frickin' nonsense. And we keep seeing evidence of this, and speaking of evidence, boy do I have some evidence for you guys on this one, as Chicago voters continue to rise up against the weak, woke, feckless leadership of Chicago Democrats on the issue of migration. We are winning this argument, and this is basically the proof. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so let's just say things got a little bit heated at a recent city council meeting in Chicago. Just take a look at this.
Brandon Johnson, the good news is we got 48 days before Trump take that oath. In January, ICE gonna come in and get rid of the illegal immigrants. Here's the thing. In order for us to get these taxes, we gotta get rid of these illegals. So this was gonna happen to you. You got Kash Patel and Pam Bundy that you're gonna have to deal with sooner than later. Then it's gonna be an audit. Next, it's gonna be an investigation. Then it's gonna be an indictment.
Well, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. Oh, I like that. Oh my God. I like that. That's bad.
Conviction. That's what's gonna happen to you.
Oh my God. Wow.
One thing that Chicago people know very well is how to spot a scam, and the scam has been exposed. I want to say thank you to the city council. I want to say thank y'all for voting down that $300 million. Thank you for saving us $300 million. Thank you for saying no to $150 million, and we want y'all to say no to the $60 million. You all did not get enough hand claps, enough support, enough love. Know that the whole country was clapping and proud of the work of this city council, because our mayor is embarrassing us, y'all, around the world. And you all took the power back from him to say the city of Chicago is out of the business of funding illegals. We are out of the business of prioritizing non-American citizens on top of the American citizens who go out in this cold weather every day to make money to pay their taxes.
So going back to what I said in the intro, I'm going to use the exact same line. I mean, what a moment to be alive. What a moment to witness. Watching that fiery Chicago resident take city leadership to task in a spectacle of raw, unfiltered frustration is just a beautiful sight to behold. And let's be honest about what's going on here. This frustration that we're seeing bubbling to the surface here isn't some new phenomenon. It's not some Russian campaign. It's not people who have fallen victim to online misinformation thanks to Elon Musk on X. No, it's something that's been bubbling for a while. It's frustration that has been building for years under the weight of failed policies and empty promises from these elite do-nothing Democrats. And it's now reaching a boiling point. And all the proof you need for that statement was that first moment in the clip that I showed you guys, a pissed off Chicago resident pulling out the orange jumpsuit for Brandon Johnson. I mean, it really just shows how serious this is. These people are pissed, and it's not just a prop, it's not just theater, let's call it political theater. No, it was a scathing indictment of an entire leadership class that has prioritized ideology over pragmatism, a leadership class that has prioritized migrants over its own citizens. And honestly, I shouldn't call them migrants, illegal migrants over citizens. And of course, by virtue, chaos over order. It's the woke chicken finally coming home to roost. Chicago is now buckling under the strain of its own sanctuary city policies. That's what's happening. Years of this,
This morning, the mayor of the nation's largest city with this controversial warning about the recent influx of migrants, many arriving on buses provided by Texas and Florida.
This issue will destroy New York City. Destroy New York City.
Mayor Eric Adams says the city is already running a $12 billion deficit, and it could cost another $12 billion to address the migrant crisis in the next few years.
Increasingly, the migrant crisis is being felt far from the border, including cities like Chicago, where officials say resources are running thin.
Tonight, officials warning Chicago is approaching a breaking point. Tents full of desperate migrants lining Chicago's iconic Lakeshore Drive. Migrant shelters inside O'Hare Airport. A total of 17,000 migrants showing up since last August, and officials expect 1,200 per day to keep coming.
It's all that finally backfiring, as now minority communities who have historically been the backbone of Democrat support, well, they seem to be waking up to the betrayal. For decades, they've been promised opportunity, safety, representation, and instead they've been pushed aside for the sake of political pandering to non-citizens. And it seems like at this point, many people are done. The jig is up. You know, this whole sanctuary city thing, it sounded great in theory, you know, at least to those who are emotionally susceptible to this kind of thing. But now I think Democrat voters are learning the hard way that slogans don't put food on the table and they don't keep your neighborhood safe. And in my view, this is where the brilliance of the America First agenda comes in. Because it's not just another empty slogan like the Democrats come up with. No, it's a political philosophy rooted in common sense. Protect your own, take care of your own home. Make sure your own family's okay, provided for, protected, before you go out there trying to solve the world's problems with your naive bullshit. You know, the basic premise here is that a nation must take care of its own citizens before worrying about the rest of the world. It's common sense, which the left has tried to portray as racism. It's white supremacy, it's colonialism, nationalism, populism, ooh, scary bad words. But it's not. And those words aren't scary. It's what any responsible government should do. Put its own citizens first. That is literally the job of government. But Democrats seem to have missed the memo entirely. And so I think slowly but surely people are realizing, hey, you know, maybe Donald Trump was actually onto something. And now finally it seems like there's ideological clarity in the country. Donald Trump wins the popular vote, and there's popular support for most of his policy proposals, especially his plan for mass deportations, which of course is now being spearheaded by Tom Homan. The majority of the people are now behind this agenda. And slowly but surely, many of the Democrats' favored voting bloc seem to have gotten the memo as well. Minority voters are realizing that their concerns, whether it's about job security, housing, or education, are essentially a secondary, if not tertiary, priority under the current Democratic agenda. And that's proving to be an issue, and that's why we're seeing this shift. I mean, even staunch Democrat leaders who were once the biggest cheerleaders for open borders are now reversing course. New York City's Eric Adams, a vocal sanctuary city advocate, is now publicly declaring that he's going to team up with the Trump administration along with Kathy Hochul in their deportation campaign. Essentially, their ideological experiment has collided headfirst with, you guessed it, reality. And the voters want leaders who will put them first, not last. And now Democrats have no choice. Their backs are against the wall, there's no more political support for the sanctuary city garbage, and so they're all falling in line slowly but surely one after another. And this shift and everything that's happening, in my view, is exposing the Democrats like nothing else has. Essentially, the minority community is realizing that the Democrat Party is not as loyal to them as they are to the Democrats. And I think a lot of people are feeling used as political pawns, and that feeling of betrayal is essentially creating a fracture in the base. And now you got Democrats scrambling to try to clean it all up. But I just have a feeling it's too little too late. You know, it seems like we've won on so many of these ideas, and the people are catching on. How do you slow that kind of momentum? I'm not exactly sure. I think Democrats have themselves in a very, very unfortunate situation here. And if Donald Trump ends up succeeding on a lot of his political ambitions, well, let's just say I think the demographic breakdown when it comes to party affiliation and political support is probably going to change and look different for a very long time moving forward. People are waking up like never before, and they're realizing that maybe this notion of America first or making America great again, maybe it was rooted in common sense and not hate after all. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.